Hey, Chandler Bolt here, and in this video I want to talk about how to hire and build a sales team, and really for some people, how to hire your first salesperson. Because as you're growing as an organization and as you're getting started as an entrepreneur, your first salesperson can be the most important hire that you ever make in your company. I mean, really, this is the fuel for growth. This is the bottleneck with which, if this person's good, your company can blow up and you got a lot of sales, and now you can afford to hire other people. If your salesperson is bad, then maybe you think that your business model is not good. You waste 6 months, a year of your life, and really all along it was just a bad salesperson. So this is just such an important position to make sure that you hire well. Now I've got a whole nother video on the hiring process that goes way in depth. So check out that video for like my full end-to-end hiring process. But in this video, I want to talk about a bunch of sales specific stuff. Now I was very fortunate, very fortunate with my first salesperson. I just lucked out and she is unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And so I've kind of witnessed firsthand the positive effects of having someone who's really great. And to be honest, I lucked out and I did a lot of things wrong. So I'm going to try to make sure that you can replicate that success, but with a proven process. So first things first, you kind of need to figure out, is this sales model, what is the model? And does it actually work to have a salesperson? Like, how are you going to comp them? How does that affect your business model? All those things. Because for some businesses, your average order value isn't high enough, so you actually can't warrant a salesperson, right? Or maybe the sales cycle or how you acquire customers, it just doesn't work. So you first need to figure out, hey, does it work with a salesperson? I know for us at Self-Publishing School, we previously sold everything via online marketing and email marketing. So it was a big shift. I said, all right, we're going to have to, pay anywhere from 5 to 10 to 12% of our revenue to salespeople now, which can really affect your below the line margins and your profit margins and all that stuff. So you need to make sure that it's feasible. And if it is, once it is, you need to figure out the type of salesperson that you need. This is probably one of the most important starting points. And I talk about in the other hiring video, the importance of a job scorecard. But even beyond that, you need to figure out what's the type of sales that I'm doing. Some popular sales books, they'll talk about a hunter versus a farmer. So a hunter goes out and gets it, and a farmer is like taking existing customers and farming it and, growing that book of business. So do you have something where this is a long sales cycle? It's going to be a big deal. Or is it like at Self-Publishing School, it's a short sales cycle, medium-sized deal, so anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 is our deal size. It typically closes within a week, so on 1 or 2 calls. And so that's kind of what's the velocity with which you're going to sell. Is it B2C? Is it B2B? What are kind of all these things at play here? Then that's going to affect the type of salesperson that you need to hire. So if you're B2C, so like for me personally, we're B2C short cycle deals, that I know the DNA of the person that I need to hire is B2C. They need to have sold in high volume environments. So meaning they're used to doing a ton of calls. And then also, because I sell coaching and online education, stuff like that, they need to be a consultative seller. Right? If someone has had experience maybe selling for like a financial services company where they just, do all the data and analytics and they just show numbers and the numbers work. And if the numbers work, the person buys. If the numbers don't work, then they don't. That's not going to work in Self-Publishing School, because we're going to get on the phone and we're going to talk with people about their dreams, right? Oh my gosh, tell me about your book. What do you want to write about? Oh, why is that important to you? How long have you been thinking about doing this? What are the challenges and roadblocks that you've faced so far? So really, I need more of a coach salesperson, right? This is a consultative sale versus just like a hard numbers. Hey, are you going to buy or are you going to not? Like bullying people around on the phone. Not that that's a healthy thing in any sales environment, but I definitely don't want that at Self-Publishing School, right? And it's just not going to work for the type of person that I need. So I need to get clear on what type of salesperson do I need, and also what's the organization going to look like. So how am I going to book calls? Is this person going to be responsible for booking their own appointments and selling? Because those are 2 very different skill sets. Are they going to be responsible for prospecting and for getting new leads? Or are they going to have their leads booked for them, right? Because then again, you're going to have to, do I want someone specialized, or do I need more of a generalist? Which if I'm getting a generalist, they're going to be not as good at one skill or the other, but they'll be able to do both. So that's going to kind of dictate the type of person that I'm looking to hire. And then also, so we have a structure inside Self-Publishing School where we have what's called a sales development rep. and an inside sales rep. So a sales development rep essentially outbound calls the leads. So we get, probably 200, 250 leads a day. And they call those folks who haven't yet booked a call and they say, hey, tell me about your book. I saw that you checked out Chandler's webinar, or I saw that you bought a copy of his book published, or any of those things. How can I help? How can we help? And where are you at in the process, right? And if those folks are qualified and they have the urgency to work to get this book done, and they're qualified to work with us, then they'll set an appointment with what we call our inside sales rep. In the software world, they call this an account executive, but someone who's essentially the closer, right? So you got the setter and you got the closer, right? So that's the structure of our sales team. And again, depending on your company, this may not work, right? Maybe you can't justify a setter and a closer. Maybe you have to have one person that does both. Now, the last thing is when you're looking at comp. So there's a lot of ways to do this. There's variable, there's commission only, there's a mix of both. I am not a fan of commission only sales. Now I realize there's some environments and some business models where it really makes sense, but for most people, it's hard to hire really good commission-only salespeople. The reason why is because there's not enough job security. So if someone's really good and they're used to making $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year, which I'll just sidebar for a second. A lot of salespeople make really good money, and as an entrepreneur, you might get hung up on that. But I'm a firm believer, and this isn't just my thinking; it's other people's thinking as well, that the salespeople in your company should be the highest paid people in your company. They should make more than the CEO. A lot of times, the best salesperson in an organization makes more than the person running it from a salary perspective. Now, I've got another video that talks about kind of owner comp versus employee comp and all that stuff. But from a salary perspective, so what you get paid to do your job in your company versus what your salesperson is going to get paid to do sales, oftentimes they will make more. And they should make more because they're bringing in all the revenue, right? If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. So you got to have sales and you got to have really good people. So they should make more money, and that's completely fair. So when it comes to structuring, though, commission only is tough to hire good people. So what I like to do is a base that's just enough to cover the essentials, but not enough to get them to be lazy, right? So they should be able to barely live off their base. And if they're only making their base, they're really worried, right? So that's the way I like to do it. But then the upside, so what you call the on-target earnings, will be exponentially higher. So that can represent, as much as 70, 80% of their earnings can be based off of sales commissions. Now, speaking of sales commissions, and this is getting down to past when you hire the person, but this is important, you need to pay sales commissions every single month. Some people try to do this quarterly. That is demotivating to your salespeople. If you do work and then you don't see the fruit of that for 3 months from now, like if you were to work out knowing that you wouldn't see bigger muscles for 3 months from now, how do you think it's gonna be harder or easier to go to the gym? Right? It's gonna be harder, but if you see those results quickly, if you work out and you're like, wow, I'm starting to get a six-pack, you're gonna keep going to the gym. So in the same way, if your salespeople make sales and then you pay them quickly, so you pay them the next calendar month. So the way we do it is let's say it's the month of January, right? So they're going to sell for January, and then on February 15th, I think it's February 15th, we're going to pay them for all the sales that came in January. Okay, so it's very simple. It's a 15-day lag from the end of the month, but once they get caught up to that, so it kind of sucks in the beginning a little bit, but then they build up their pipeline, and then they get paid monthly, and all is good. So these are just kind of some of the things that you should look for. Obviously, I've got that other video on the full hiring process, but specific to your first salesperson, it's very important that you hire someone good. You approach this process in a meaningful way. And then one of the best tips that I got when I was researching this process, kind of when I hired my first salespeople or first salesperson, was, are you sold on the individual at the end of the interview? If not, that's probably a good indicator that they're not going to be good at sales. So are they good at selling themselves? And are you fired up about the person at the end of the interview that you do with them? And if you're energized, they're upbeat, and you're sold on them, then you probably got a good salesperson. So that's the process. I hope that this helps you find a great salesperson for your business. I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you think about this process. Have you mishired? Have you hired someone great? Or are you kind of still standing on the sidelines waiting to hire that first salesperson and you're doing it all yourself? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. See ya.